Hello to all you beautiful people out there. Hello to all you fantastical students who are bravely pushing through their studies in these uncertain times. My name is Michael Serpell and I am here to introduce to you Healthy Habits. So each week we are going to be creating healthy content about eating, sleeping, meditation, exercise, good posture of course, and keeping your mind, body and soul in mint condition, which is a perfect segue to my next guest. She is a PhD student at RMIT University, an accredited practicing dietitian and nutritionist. She's also currently running a dietetic practice with her talented team of dietitians. Have you guessed who it is yet? I'll give you one more clue. Her name is Suzi Ristevski. Suzi, greetings to you. How are you? How are you staying healthy during this lockdown period?
Hi, thank you so much for having me. The way I've tried, doesn't always work, but I've tried to stick to that regular or have a regular routine. And one thing I like to do in terms of productivity is use a technique called the Pomodoro technique, where you work for 25-minute stints and then have a break. And my break tends to be a bit of music and dancing. I also do my yoga, try and eat as healthy as I can. I do a bit of painting and gardening. So all of those things that are unwork related, I try to do to keep me mentally healthy as well, not just physically.
Now, what are some effective ways that students can be adjusting their diet in isolation, given they are likely to be less active than in usual circumstances?
Yeah, the key thing I think is just being aware of the food and more mindful. So the mindless eating creeps in, and a lot of the time those types of foods that sneak in discretionary items, so higher in sugar, saturated fats, and it can take away from choosing those healthier options. So the main thing is, being aware, because we can easily overconsume foods. And like you said, we're less active, we're sitting more. So getting that movement up, whether it's a walk, YouTube, you can put on a 20-minute workout or put on some music, dance, stretch, whatever it is, just getting that movement up and being mindful of what's going into your body and how much you're expending.
Now, Suzi, I've been hearing whispers around RMIT campus about a game-changing 5-step formula that will absolutely transform the lives of whoever hear it. And of course, I am talking about Suzi's top 5 tips for eating healthy on a budget.
I've got the giggles now. So the very first thing, and I can't emphasize this enough, is having a regular meal pattern. So have your 3 base meals, breakfast, lunch, dinner, where you evenly distribute your food. That really helps keep your blood sugars and insulin nice and regulated. You get that sustained energy release, but it also helps prevent those strong sugar cravings, high fat foods that you might get when you're not nourishing your body properly earlier in the day. So first thing, number 1, regular meals. Number 2, water. Make sure, very simple. Abundant. Water is very important for hydration. You'll notice you'll feel more energetic when you're drinking water. Water helps transport nutrients to where they're supposed to go in the body. Just water. Remember that. Number 2, water.
Do your special dance, Suzi, to make sure there's more water coming down,
I'm sending water vibes.
Yes, you are.
Then the third thing, just keep things simple. What I mean by that is combine a protein food with a whole grain carbohydrate. That combination gives you that sustained energy release, and some budget-friendly protein foods. Eggs, quick and easy. You can do so many things with them. Tinned fish, tuna, salmon, sardines. They have so many omega-3s. Chicken, legumes, lentils, chickpeas, kidney beans. They're quite budget friendly, and there are so many things you can do with them. They provide you the fiber as well as the protein. And then making sure you don't forget the veggies. Frozen veggies, there's nothing wrong with frozen veggies. A lot of the time people think that they're inadequate, but a lot of the time they're snap frozen. So they're full of nutrients. They're quite affordable. You know, you've got your protein, your carb, throw in your veggies, and that's a balanced meal. So number 3, keep things simple, back to basic meal prep.
Exactly. And you heard it first here on the show that frozen vegetables are indeed healthy for you. Whatever you've heard in the past, it's not true. They are healthy.
Definitely.
Wow, that's great.
The 4th thing I want to suggest, so number 4 is plan and organize yourself. What I mean by that is whether it's the bulk cooking, I suggest, so some people by having healthy meals handy. You know, if you do like I said, a stir fry, you can easily get 3 or 4 meals out of that. That's your dinners or lunches. Yeah. Sandwiches, they're quick and easy as well. But by being organized, you're less likely to grab whatever's there, as I mentioned earlier, and you will have those healthy foods on hand. But one thing that also can help is packing your lunch and organizing yourself the night before, as if you're going to work, or as if you're going to uni. Yes. Pack a lunchbox, put your fruits in there, your snacks, which I'll go through in a second, a sandwich or leftovers, whatever it is. When you have your meal ready there and you're organized, you can't go wrong. And then number 5, so this is more around shopping and buying your groceries. Try to buy what's in season in terms of the fruit and veggies. They tend to be cheaper. Otherwise frozen, as I mentioned before. There's nothing wrong with buying the generic brands, and don't be persuaded by fancy packaging and things that are marketed quite well, which are generally more expensive. And try not to go shopping hungry, because you're more likely to buy everything and anything and things you don't need. So being mindful of your grocery shopping journey, that's my tip number 5.
That's very, very true. Especially don't go to like a really massive one like Costco when you're hungry, because they also have a cafeteria in the store. Right. You're going to be really careful there.
That's right, exactly. And yeah, just being mindful of those things.
Suzi, your top 5 tips are absolutely amazing. Now, what are some good resources for healthy eating on a budget for those students who may be on a 2-minute noodle diet?
One place that I absolutely love, not just for budget, but for recipes and meal ideas, is they're called the Australian Healthy Food Guide. And you can search by genre. So if you you click recipes and just type eggs. Just say you bought some eggs, you want to cook budget-friendly meals, type it in, and then it'll come up with a bunch of recipes or ideas to use the eggs. If you just type budget in there, and it'll come up with not just meals, but also tips. So that's my go-to, and all the information in there is designed and approved by dietitians and nutritionists. And health professionals. So that's probably my best one. In terms of guidelines for general healthy eating, the Australian Guide to Healthy Eating, which used to be, it's no longer the pyramid, it's the plate.
It's plate now.
Yeah, so it's designed, it's still you've got your core food groups, your fruit, veggies, your whole grains, your meat, and your calcium group. So try to aim to have a little bit of those groups each day. Use it as a guide to see if you're missing out on any of the food groups, because each group plays a crucial role in providing certain nutrients for your bodies. They're there for a reason.
When students are a little peckish throughout the day, what are some good snacks to have in between classes if you do have a busy schedule? So clearly, fruit roll-ups, cheese stringers, mammy noodles, killer pythons, just a lolly, must be somewhere in the equation, right?
Maybe in the moderation category. Okay. The first go-to is, it's obvious, but you'll be surprised how many people aren't having fruit. It's natural sugar, the vitamins and minerals in there, and the fiber. So fiber is very protective, not just for helping you keep you regular, but it's important for your heart health, for preventing diabetes, cardiovascular health. So having at least 2 fruits per day takes care of 2 snacks already. So that's your first go-to. And then yogurts. Try choose from your plain, natural, or Greek style. Some of them, or a lot of them, can have a lot of added sugars. If you like the flavored ones, get a plain yogurt. You can put cinnamon in a plain natural yogurt, and nuts, almonds, walnuts, seeds. You can throw them in your yogurt if you wanted to. Another great snack is just plain popcorn.
Hey, popcorn.
Yeah,
popcorn.
Full of fiber, and you can have quite a decent serve, and it's still quite low in calories, but yeah, full of fiber. Not the buttered one, in moderation. I will say moderation for the buttered. It's better than having a full chocolate bar.
Wow.
So they're the go-tos.
Wow. So you heard it first here, all you film students out there. You can go to your film lectures. You can take as much popcorn as you want in moderation, but it's healthy.
Yeah. That's right. So
stay away from the butter.
better than chips, better than a packet of chips.
Now, are there any specialized resources out there? You mentioned the food guides, which sound absolutely incredible. Are there any out there for students with dietary requirements, such as food allergies, intolerances, religious restrictions, vegetarian, vegan, or those people out there who absolutely detest olives?
Definitely. There are heaps of resources. I'll go through some key ones. If you're on whether it's a vegetarian, vegan type diet, that Australian Healthy Food Guide that I mentioned, if you just type in vegan or vegetarian, a lot of recipes come up. If you have something like celiac disease, where you have to have a gluten-free diet, the Celiac Society of Australia is a fantastic resource and a support network as well. If there's an allergy where you're anaphylactic, for example, to nuts, eggs, or whatever it may be, they have cards, and then that helps you make sure you're choosing things as well that are appropriate for you. Dietitians Australia, Nutrition Australia, they also have that cater to all these things. So if you just type it in that search, whether you're for religious or like Ramadan, for example, you can find these resources in those sites that I mentioned. I do want to emphasize, while we're on the topic of allergy and food intolerances, if you suspect you have an allergy or food intolerance, please go to your GP so you can get properly diagnosed. We see a lot of people self-diagnosing in practice. So please, if you think you have something, don't self-diagnose. Go to a doctor to get the appropriate referral to the specialist, and then see a dietitian as well that specializes in food intolerance and allergies.
What important healthy eating habits and healthy habits in general do students often forget or just neglect?
So, great question, and I suppose this ties in with everything we've mentioned so far. And I want to go from a perspective where we see certain habits that creep in that cause or result in that neglect, or cause the poor habits that might creep in. The first typical thing we see is too much soft drink consumption, energy drinks and caffeine. So it causes that boost or that energy, but then they get a crash, and your body becomes reliant on those foods or those drinks, and it takes away from having the healthy foods or those meals that we spoke about earlier. Another thing is also the overconsumption of discretionary foods and fast foods that replace what we ideally would like a balanced meal instead. And also just not moving enough, not stretching, not having proper breaks from the screen. You don't realize how much time can pass. And having those breaks, that movement there is so important. And yes, scheduling those alarms, everything's linked.
That's absolutely right, Suzi. All the healthiness is connected. If you do all that, you'll be super healthy. You'll be a superhuman. You'll be a super student, that's for sure. Suzi, thank you so much for your time today, for sharing all of these really beneficial tips for our health. Stay safe, stay healthy, and continue to be happy, continue to eat healthy.
Thank you so much. You're very welcome. And yeah, take care, everyone. Look after yourselves. And just do the best you can.
Well, what an amazing first episode that was of Healthy Habits. Thank you so much for tuning in today, and I look forward to seeing you all next time where we discuss more ways you can stay healthy wherever you are.